What's up, guys? Back with another video today, and today we are going to be covering this past weekend's combine and the standout performances and a lot of the tests and just some dialogue about who I think rose and fell in this combine process. I'm going to go over the tests that really match up with position groups. First, we'll start with the 40, and we're going to highlight Anthony Richardson running 4.43, which is outstanding. He showed to be a absolute insane athlete at the combine this week. Duggan ran 4.52, DTR. Only a few of these guys really ran this 40. Wasn't too important, but 4.43 for Anthony Richardson is outstanding. So we'll go to the running backs. And Devin Achane out of A&M ran 4.32. Jahmyr Gibbs, we know he has that burst, 4.36. Some guys, Bijan Robinson, 4.46. He got some hate because people don't really understand his game sometimes, but he's not a speed guy. He doesn't have the breakaway speed. We know that. That's not his game. He's a receiving back. He's a power back, bounces off guys, very elusive, doesn't have the breakaway speed, but we knew that coming into the combine, so I'm not surprised personally. 40-yard dash, we have Trey Palmer leading at 4.33. Some guys who really showed out, like Bryce Ford Wheaton out of West Virginia, 4.38. Jalen Hyatt ran a 4.4. Some people expected way faster since he was known as a pure speed guy, but I still don't think this is too bad. Zay Flowers running 4.42, also expected a little bit more. His game is he's football fast, and that's a big difference in running in a straight line. Some guys that didn't run so fast. We got Josh Downs, who's known for his speed. Smaller guy, 4.48, not what you wanted to see. Jordan Addison, 4.49. I knew his game prior. A lot of people do too, but people were still disappointed with this. I knew that this isn't his game. He's a slot kind of deep hybrid, and he doesn't have that breakaway speed either in the same way that like a Garrett Wilson does, but he knows how to get open, knows how to find space. Tank Dell, really disappointing, 4.49. He is too small to be running that slow. Same with Downs, same with Zay Flowers. 4.42 isn't too bad, but A.T. Perry, on the other hand, is a full 6'5", running a 4.47, outstanding. One of the biggest letdowns of this combine was Kayshon Boutte. Had a terrible testing day. Not sure what's going to do to his stock. Probably tank it, but how bad was it already? Not sure. Tight ends. Will Mallory, 4.54. Zach Kuntz had a crazy athletic day, 4.55. Laporta, Iowa tight end, classic. George Kittle. Darnell Washington, at his size, running, he's, I believe, 6'6.5". 4.64 is outstanding. And Michael Mayer down here ran a 4.7. I'm not too concerned, but a little bit faster I probably would have expected. O-lineman, not really going to touch much on this, but Broderick Jones, Anton Harrison, Blake Freeland. We got 5 guys here under 5. That's pretty solid for these O-linemen. DNs, Nolan Smith, the headliner, 4.39. Outstanding. Small frame. That was the big thing that people were looking over. He's a small guy. He's going to have to play a TJ Watt role, which is, TJ Watt's good at it, so it is possible. But 4.39 is blazing nonetheless, but he is not a top 5 guy. Like, we knew he was going to be fast. He wanted even faster. He said he could run faster, but still outstanding. Smaller frame will be a concern for some teams, but 4.39 for an edge rusher is almost, it looks like a joke to look at. Byron Young here with a 4.43 is also crazy with a bigger size. Adebowale out of Northwestern with a 4.49. He had a crazy athletic day. He really absolutely rose his stock through the roof. Derek Hall, 4.55, very nice. Van Ness at a 4.58 with a beast of a frame is a really good time. Will Anderson at 4.6, nothing to be mad about. He ran one rep and hopped off, as he should. Like, we know who Will Anderson is. He'll be good. Still going in that top 3 conversation. Here we go. Kalijah Kancey is defensive tackle. 4.67 is a crazy time. As you see, it stands out from the rest completely, but he is very small. He is 6'1". That's unheard of ever as defensive tackle. And I do believe that he's still on that borderline first round, second round. I think his size could be a real problem in the NFL, where these interior offensive linemen are just much bigger. So that is something that teams are going to take into consideration, of course. He played in the ACC, not the best conference, had a ton of sacks, led in the last 2 years combined. He led the nation in defensive tackle sacks. But can he translate this when he's much smaller. 6'1" is actually taller than people expected him to measure out at. Bryan Bresee, 4'8'6". Gervin Dexter, falling down my board a bit, 4'8", still very impressive. Zach Pickens, love him a lot. Really liked what I saw out of him just through not only the 4.89, but his drills were very good, and I heard he's a really good interview. So Zach Pickens and big on. We got the Texas duo here, Moro Ojomo and Keondre Coburn. Let's go to linebacker. Owen Popo, 4.39, outstanding middle linebacker. Trenton Simpson, I watch a bit of his YouTube vlogs, and I love the way he trains. Very dedicated guy. Just loves his process. 4.43, very good time. That's going to help his stock a ton. I believe that's a possible first rounder. And we got some guys like Henry To'o, Noah Sewell. Jack Campbell's a bigger guy, but I'm not too discouraged. Next up, we have the corners, and DJ Turner ran away with a 4.26 out of Michigan. Crazy time. The fastest time in the whole combine. And then we had the Maryland duo of Jacorian Bennett and Deonte Banks, 4.3 and 4.35. Emmanuel Forbes at only 166 pounds, which is crazy light, but good wingspan and crazy IQ at reading the backfield. And he actually had the most pick sixes in the nation, so his IQ really showed out. Keely Ringo should have run a little bit faster than 4.36, but very solid. Christian Gonzalez, 4.38. Love that time for him. Fast guy with length and just a lockdown man corner. I wish he could get to the Steelers. He won't. Cam Smith, 4.43. Kittrell Clark, 4.42. We have Joey Porter running a 4.46. Not terrible. He's not really a speed guy, so not really worried about that. Next up, we will finish off the 40s with safeties. We got Brandon Hill, 4.43, leading the safety class. Daniel Scott, 4.45. Sidney Brown out of Illinois, 4.47. Antonio Johnson, maybe a back-end safety in the first round, 4.52. Jordan Battle out of Alabama, 4.55. Jamie Robinson, Florida State, 4.59. Chris Smith, 4.62. I really like Brandon Joseph, 4.62. And the Florida safeties round out the bottom, but both still good safeties. They'll both get drafted, just not really the speed type. And the 10-yard split is very important to see how explosive guys are. Nolan Smith, again, shows how explosive he is. Derek Hall had a great 1.59 split. Will Anderson with a 1.61, perfectly good. Adebowale, I think I'm saying that right, 1.61, great testing. Byron Young, these guys are all very explosive. But a 1.52 out of Nolan Smith, as you can see, these 0.01 intervals are huge differences, and for him to be 0.04 from the second closest is outrageous. Darius Davis out of TCU actually led this. Tank Dell had a good one. That's good to see. We knew he was explosive, but good to confirm it. Josh Downs also explosive, especially I noticed in North Carolina. They love their little swing screens with him. They'll just flip it out to him in the flat and let him go. So this is showing his explosiveness. Jalen Hyatt had a decent one. Corners here. We got DJ Turner, of course, led the 40 as well. Jalen Jones, very explosive. Jacorian Bennett, there's one of the corners I was talking about from Maryland. Emmanuel Forbes, good to see. Could be a first-round guy, maybe. I mean, these corners, man, there's some good corners in this class. Deonte Banks, Kittrell Clark, Riley Moss, Kyo Blue Kelly out of Stanford's a good guy. He got toasted a little bit by Jordan Addison this past year, but very good. Cam Smith tested pretty well here, 1.49. Joey Porter, these guys are all in the mix. Very good athletes at corner this year. Let's go look at some D tackles explosiveness. Kalijah Kancey with an insane 1.64 10-yard split. That's off the charts. As you can see, the second closest was much further down, being Bryan Bresee, who, again, had a very good split. So, shows you how impressive. Here we got Zach Pickens, 1.74. Great split for him. Jalen Redmond, 1.71. Keanu Benton, 1.79. It starts to gap out a little bit here. But these guys up top, especially Bryan Bresee being his stature with a 1.71 is good news. Good news. Owen Popo, who also had the fastest 40 out of the linebackers. Dion Henley, very explosive. Trenton Simpson, explosive. Yasir Abdullah, I like Yasir Abdullah from Louisville a lot, 1.56. To'o and Noah Sewell here, they seem to be tied by every metric. Keaton Mitchell, 1.48, is blazing through the first 10-yard split. Devin Achane, very quick running back. Bijan Robinson. This is where his explosiveness is shown. 152 with his counterpart Roschon Johnson, 152 as well. Jahmyr Gibbs, very explosive, 152. He has a little bit more bend to his explosiveness, though. He can kind of shoot around a corner. So I don't know if this would be the perfect showing of his explosiveness, but it's definitely a good representation. As Anthony Richardson jumping 40.5. It's like 40. Are you quarterback? We sure this guy's a quarterback? All right. 40.5 is outrageous. The second closest was 37.5. Clayton Tune out of Houston. Running backs, Chase Brown jumping 40. So, for example, Anthony Richardson jumped higher than the highest jumping running back, for perspective. The dude's explosive. You got some crazy other ones. Bryce Ford Wheaton, I mentioned earlier, he tested off the charts, and here's the example. 41 for a jump. We got Quentin Johnston, great jump, 40.5. Jalen Hyatt as well. Some of these guys really showing off their athleticism in this test. Tight ends, Zach Kuntz tested crazy. 40-inch at his size is ridiculous. Blake Freeland jumping 37, great. I mean, look at the gap. 37, 34.5, 32.5. Top three. So Blake Freeland, clouds above the rest. Nolan Smith, 41.5. He jumped equivalent to Anthony Richardson. They're both outliers. A quarterback and a D end jumping 41.5. Do we want to switch the positions on these guys? Like, I'm putting these two at running back and wide receiver because this is just not supposed to happen. Byron Young also 38. Jalen Redmond, very good. That's a great jump of 34.5 for a big guy. Jack Campbell, 37.5, bigger guy. Yasir Abdullah, again, 36.5. Papo, not only fast, but he can jump a bit. Henley as well. Deonte Banks jumping out of the stadium at 42. And Christian Gonzalez, 41.5. The dude can get up there. These Maryland corners are both top in every metric. Emmanuel Forbes, 37.5. Cam Smith, 38. Kyu Blu Kelly, 36. We get down here. Keely Ringo, not so hot, 33.5. Clark Phillips, not great, but hey, these guys get analyzed as a package. It's not just one trait, it's everything. Jartavius Martin out of Illinois, 44. Vert. Yeah. And then his fellow teammate, Sidney Brown out of Illinois, 40.5. Let's look at some Anthony Richardson jumping 10.9. Will Levis jumping 10.4. Clayton Tune tested pretty well, 10.2 here. But Anthony Richardson, 10.9. Man, he really took the questions about him and said, all right, I'm going to put myself in that top 5 mix surely. Chase Brown here led the running backs. Keaton Mitchell tested very well today. Bijan, 10.4. Good to see. Charbonnet out of UCLA, 10.2. Roschon Johnson, 10.2. Jalen Hyatt led wide receivers with 11.3. Quentin Johnston, very explosive, 11.2. A.T. Perry at 6'5", jumping at 11.1. Josh Downs, shorter, smaller guy, 10.11 is very impressive. And Zach Kuntz, again, he killed it, 10.8. Schoonmaker and Musgrave, 10.7, 10.5. Davis Allen tested pretty well. Sam Laporta, 10.3. Tucker Kraft, South Dakota State. Jackrabbits, 10.2. Darnell Washington, 10.2 for his size. That's so impressive. Yasir Abdullah, really like him, 10.9. Jack Campbell, jumped great, 10.8. Owen Papo and Dion Henley, 10.6, 10.5. Let's look at some corners. Julius Brents, 11.6. That's a jump. Deonte Banks, again, testing, man, 11.4. Here are the Maryland guys, again. Cam Smith, 11.2. That's a great jump. Jacorian Bennett, 11.1. Christian Gonzalez, 11.1. Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, LaDainian Tomlinson's nephew, I believe. 11 is a very good jump. Blake Freeland, again, led in another metric, 10-foot jump. Very, very impressive. Skronsky up there. Kind of smaller arm guy, but very impressive. Will McDonald and Byron Young here tied. Nolan Smith, 10.8, also impressive. D tackles, Jalen Redmond, he did pretty well testing. I really liked what I saw from him as a D tackle. Zach Pickens up here again, tied for first. Really tested well. Also just had some really good drills. Really liked him. Keanu Benton, 9.3, very solid. The one that is the most impressive is going to be Jackson Smith-Njigba. And he killed the agility drills. And we knew that his change of direction, those Ohio State receivers, the coaching on their change of direction is next level. So we knew he was going to kill it, but man, did he kill it. Look at this difference, 6'5" to 6'8". He killed it. The wide receivers, JSN, again, killed it. Look at this gap. Like, just miles above the next people when it comes to these tests, agility-wise. Didn't run the 40. Shouldn't have with the hamstring problems. And we know he's probably not going to run quick, but these agility tests are good to see. Bench press and O-line, sad story, Andrew Voorhees tore his ACL, but still benched number 1 out of O-linemen, 38 reps of 225. Hands down, just absolute perseverance, great performance. Really hope he recovers fast. DNs, Lonnie Phelps got 31 up, Tyler Lacey 30, Keon White 30. Running back, Chase Brown, 25 reps of 225 out of Illinois. Tank Bigsby got 21. Chris Rodriguez, 19. Charbonnet, big dude, 18. Wide receivers. Michael Wilson put up 23. Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss, 22. Jacob Copeland got 20. Zach Kuntz again, tied here, 23. He had a great day. Tucker Kraft, 23. Darnell Washington, 21. May expect a little bit more because he's a huge dude, but that can also be a disadvantage when it comes to bench press. Long arms, short arms usually are better for a bench press. D tackles, Mozzie Smith put up 34 reps of 225. Jacqueline Roy, I was watching some tape on him today, 30 reps. Ojomo out of Texas, 29. Jalen Redmond, 27. Benton, 25. I like D tackles in this class. I like the edges. I really like that front seven. Papo, 29 as a linebacker. Sewell, absolute strength dude, 27. Trenton Simpson, 25, tests very well in every category. Safety, Trey Dean, we knew he was a little bit slower, but there he goes. Makes up for it, 25 reps. Sidney Brown, 23. Jamie Robinson, strong dude. I'm a Florida State student. Watch him in person. Strong dude. I'm going to go over real quick people I have as risers and fallers. I'm not really going to mention much of Jalen Carter just because of his situation. I don't know how that's going to clear up yet, but once we find out more, I will obviously proceed then. I think that CJ Stroud, with his throwing performance in the drills, he can throw the deep ball. He can absolutely place those out routes, even the deep ones. I really think he could possibly be the first quarterback off the board. To me, he's the most pro-ready, and you don't have to worry about the size concern of Bryce Young. Josh Downs is supposed to be a speed demon and supposed to be a huge run-after-the-catch guy. He is agile, but he's supposed to be faster than he ran. Not huge here on him. Quentin Johnston really proved his explosiveness, but we all kind of knew that. I would say he rose a bit. Jordan Addison, I would say, even though I knew, and many other people knew, that he wasn't going to be the speed demon, I think that confirming it didn't really help his stock. So I think Jordan Addison fell a bit. I also believe Tank Dell, there was some hype around him. I think he fell a bit. Jackson Smith-Njigba, I think he rose throughout this process. He could be a wide receiver 1 off the board. People know Ohio State receivers, and they know the pedigree that they hold, and I believe that that's very important. A.T. Perry, at his size, running the way he did, very encouraging, and I think his stock rose. Bryce Young, I don't think he had any effect on his stock. C.J. Stroud, up. Anthony Richardson, probably up the most of anyone when it comes to the hype. He tested out of his mind. He threw some crazy deep balls effortlessly. We had seen some of those in the games, but it's hard when he's on Florida and he doesn't have that much around him to really see what he can do. Bijan Robinson, I believe, pretty neutral, but probably helped his stock with a pretty decent 40. I think people said it was slow, but I don't think I think he could have ran slower and still gotten away with it. Deuce Vaughn came in at 5'5", which is definitely going to hurt his stock. Hate to say it, love the story, but 5'5" is a small dude, even though he is about 180, 179, I believe. Darnell Washington absolutely rose his stock. He measured in huge and ran well. That's Tyree Wilson, tested pretty well. His length and size. He doesn't even know how to play edge like that in college yet. Wait till he gets to the NFL and gets proper coaching. He's going to be crazy. Derek Hall tested pretty well. Nolan Smith. I don't know how they're going to grade him down here, but he tested outrageously good. Again, people recognize his frame is pretty small. He's going to have to play a different kind of role. True edge defender, and he has a crazy high pressure rate in college, so not too worried about it. Very agile, good at getting inside, getting between guard and tackle. His tape is fun to watch, man. Calijah Kancey raised his stock, tested super well, but again, the size is going to be a little hard to overlook. Bryan Bresee raised his stock, had some really good metrics, and showed he was a big dude, had some great interviews, was just a great, when he was talking to, I believe, NFL Network when I was watching the Combine, just seems like a very great dude. Went through some very tough stuff, and you gotta respect it. Gervon Dexter, for me, fell. He's good, but he's pretty slow, and he's slow to get onto blocks. He doesn't really do much when he gets on sometimes. Just the slowness to me is the problem. He gets fatigued too. If you watch late game Gervon Dexter, he's not really impacting the middle of that O-line very much. Well, Trenton Simpson, all around great player. I think he really filled out his resume when it comes to every test. Jack Campbell, people love his frame. Christian Gonzalez rose in stock. Joey Porter, to me, he's not very fast, but he's super long, so that probably is going to help his stock. Super strong as well. Deonte Banks raised his stock a lot. That is my evaluation of some of these guys and some of the things I saw from the Combine, and thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and peace.